สวัสดีครับ Kasit Piromya from Bangkok once again. This time I will talk a bit about myself rather than the political happenings in Thailand and around Thailand as the usual practice. The reason why I want to raise an issue about myself is the fact that as of about a week ago, on the 29th of March, I had to go to the Criminal Court of Justice to hear the deliberation, the final deliberations and the decision of the Criminal Court of Justice on the case concerning the occupation of the Don Muang Airport and the Suvarnabhumi Airport in late November and early December of the year 2008. And I was present at the occupation of the two airports and was accused of being a terrorist to the penalty of death. There were other 67 defendants, 66. Altogether was 67 of them. So we were all there in the morning of the 29th of March 2024, a few days ago. This presiding over judge read 51 pages of the deliberation and the verdict. And we were listening to his reading very attentively. And I would like to summarize a few points for your kind information. The judge started to mention about the fact of the gathering of the rally, the protest rally at the two airports were part and parcel of the freedom of expression. So implicitly, he was applying and saying that we all had the right to express our views in accordance with the present or the then constitution of Thailand. And the gatherings were peaceful, unarmed, and lack of violence. And the causes for the gathering were the discontentment and displeasure with the conduct of the then government under the leadership of the former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra and subsequent Prime Minister such as Kun Samak Sunthoravet and Kun Somchai Wongsavat. The latter two are more or less the proxies of Mr. Thaksin Shinawatra. And the contents of the protests were about the misconduct of governance, of running the government, accusation of malpractices and corruption cases and so on. And the proof that what the protester, including myself, were rallying against were correct in the sense that subsequently the other Criminal Court of Justice had sentenced Mr. Thaksin Shinawatra to an 8-year imprisonment, counting all the various cases and so on. So what the judge was saying to us was that what we were protesting were, I think, factual and correct in nature because it was substantiated by the final sentencing of Mr. Thaksin Shinawatra. So in short, the verdict was based on the freedom of expression, non-violent, and the issue at hand or the substance of the protest were factual and truthful. So all of us, 67 lives on the 29th of March 2024 were being all acquitted. So we have become now a free citizen of Thailand once again. The whole court procedures took 10 years. It did become the longest court case in the judicial history of Thailand or in contemporary political life of Thailand. And we were, I think, set free on bail. We have to place a certain amount of money to the court for the past 10 years. And for each trip that we want to go abroad, we have to place a bond of 600,000 baht each time. And we have to go to the criminal court to get the permission to leave the country. And once we are back in the country, we have to immediately go to the criminal court to report our return to the Kingdom of Thailand and withdraw the bond of 600,000 baht. That has been a sort of a normal activities for me and my wife in particular, because she has to place the bond on my behalf of the past 10 years. And during the past 10 years, I had to travel quite a lot abroad for various seminar meetings, lectures, and all of this, and so on. So it was quite a cumbersome speech procedures, not only just to go to the court for this permission to leave the country, but to keep on going back to the court of justice for the past 10 years. Okay, but on reflection or looking back, I don't have any grudges against anyone. I don't place blame on anyone. I don't cry wolves or cried out against the gods and the devils and so on for such misfortune and so on. Because I have come to the conclusion that it was my own responsibility. I went to the various rallies on the street and especially to the two airports out of my own volition, out of my own will, my own decision. No one coerced me. No one induced me. It was my own decision to go out, use my human rights, use my freedom of expression as a right as a Thai citizen against something that I perceive to be of a wrongdoing, against the conduct of the government of Thaksin Shinawatra and his various proxy successors and so on. And once I did that, out of my own free will and my own decision, negative consequences did occur. Then I thought that I had to bear it, face them, without blaming other people and so on. So I endured whatever obligations or inconveniences that had been occurring to my life and to my family members of the past 10 years and so on. It's lucky that at the end of the day we all were acquitted and proven that what we did more or less was for the common good of the country. We did fight against corruption, against abuses of power, against encroachment and infringement on the constitution, the law of the country, and other related laws and so on. And we did this in a very peaceful manner, devoid of violence or the use of force. And we endured once we were accused of trespassing the emergency decree of destabilizing the security of the country more or less as a terrorist and so on. So we could emerge out of this and looking back without remorse, without revenge, but simply to move forward and to do whatever we can, whenever we can, for the common good of the country and for the common good of mankind as a whole. So a few personal expressions to you, for you, to share with you, and hopefully that we can all work together for the common good of mankind, for humanity, during the rest of our life on this particular earth. Thank you very much. ขอบคุณมากครับ